Now I know many of you believe this woman to be a witch, and, though I admit her rhetoric is indeed vile and cunning, if history is to smile upon us, we must be sure, as such I propose, that we throw her into the lake and drown her. If she survives, then she was indeed a witch. But if she drowns, then perhaps God will show her mercy.
Can I say something, Mathers?
What is it, Schrodinger?
Well, what if, hypothetically speaking, when we throw her into the lake, she lands directly on the water and is neither in the water nor out of the water? Theoretically, she would be both a witch and not a witch.
My God, he's right, Mathers. What do we do?
Well, I suppose we could just burn her. It always brings a tear to my eye, doing God's work.
You can say that again, Mathers. You can say that again. Nothing like a good witch burning to kick off the Season 2 premiere of The Woke is Broke podcast. Hit it.
Rocky Mountain River running through the trees. Daybreak breaking down in Tennessee. Midday sky out in Santa Fe with the sun sinking down over a field of grain. And it's called the land of the brave. The whole world knows our name. One God and 50 states.
Oh, hello. Welcome to the Season 2 premiere of the Woke is Baroque podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Stanko, and it would not be a season premiere without a shameless advertisement for my book, Rockers Creek, available on the Amazon Marketplace. Now, that being said, if you're wondering why my voice might sound a little bit hoarse, I will give you a hint. That is right. I have COVID, ladies and gentlemen. I just found out this Tuesday, actually, and I had a rather interesting experience, you might say, at the urgent care. After being diagnosed, I met with the doctor who is going to prescribe me the medication that I'm on currently. And he's a short guy, portly, bald, not very nice, not very good looking. Could have been a lot better looking than I remember, because all I really remember was this kind of scowl he gave me halfway into our conversation where he asked me if I took the vaccine. And I am not giving medical advice. Let me say that again. I am not giving medical advice. Do you hear me, Mark Zuckerberg, okay? He asked me if I took the vaccine, and I said, no, I hadn't taken the vaccine. He said, well, no, you have to wait 2 months, before you can take it. I guess that's the thing. If you get COVID, you have to wait a couple of months maybe to take the vaccine. He said, be sure to do that. There are nurses in Alabama right now who are on strike because they're tired of dealing with unvaccinated patients. To which I kindly responded, well, it's kind of their job. And he said, well, yeah, I guess, but what if they all quit? Well, then that leaves positions open for other people who are interested in doing their job to take their place. To which he responded, yeah, but we're short on emergency workers as it is right now. And that attitude, just the arrogance, just the attitude in this doctor, and in a lot of doctors and nurses that we're seeing right now in regards to this crap, this popularized belief that you should just go on strike if you get a patient that you don't agree with. All right? We heard it from freaking Jimmy Fallon, or I'm sorry, Jimmy Kimmel, right? The other unfunny dumbass, the other unfunny Jimmy, who is also a dumbass that's on late night television all the time. Jimmy Kimmel gets out there and says, well, ER should just turn away people who are unvaccinated if they come in sick. Okay, kiss my ass for the record. If you want to cherry pick who your patients are, private medicine is always an option. Okay, but if you work in a hospital, if you work in an ER, if you work in an urgent care, if you work at a general clinic, your job is to provide health care to the public, whether you like them or not, whether you agree with them or not. Okay? Right? One of the best ways to avoid getting an STD is by not having anal sex with men. Does that mean that we just stop treating people who come into clinics with STDs? Hell no, that'd be insane. Right? If somebody didn't get the flu vaccine and they came into the hospital, do we just not treat them? No, that has never been discussed or suggested at all. And yet for this, it's popular. It's understandable that nurses are tired or doctors are tired of dealing with patients who are unvaccinated coming in and seeking medical treatment. How dare we? How dare I? How dare I inconvenience them like that and demand that they do their damn job? It is absolute insanity. And to top it all off, when the doctor that I met with starts to prescribe me, gives me the list of the medications that he's going to prescribe me, he says, so Ivermectin, is something that, my bosses, are really believe in and want me to prescribe. So I'm going to prescribe this to you, but I don't believe in it. I wouldn't take it. Then why are you prescribing it to me? It's like, why don't you believe in it, is what I asked him. And he said, well, it's very controversial. Well, how is it controversial? He said, well, it's just very controversial. Okay. If I had to guess, I'd say it's very controversial because every jackass on television talking about ivermectin is saying it's for deworming horses.
I gotta say, when I first heard that Fox News was pushing ivermectin, I knew it was gonna be bad, but I was not expecting it to be horse dewormer. Sounds like the name of a drug they give super soldiers in a Paul Verhoeven movie to turn them into RoboCops. Someone at the company that made ivermectin once said, hey, should we put not for people on the horse pill labels? And someone else said, there's a picture of a horse on the bottle. It's fine.
Yes, medicine used for deworming horses has ivermectin in it on occasion, right? But ivermectin is also a drug prescribed to human beings, 250 million a year. As it just so happens, it's also a Nobel Prize-winning drug, if I'm not mistaken, right? And yet, whenever you hear about ivermectin on TV, it's made to be very controversial because everyone from Jimmy Kimmel, right, to freaking Don Lemon thinks of this when they think of ivermectin and doctors prescribing it.
Oh, doctor, I think it's time for my pill.
Just a minute, Mrs. Upjohn. That looks like a horse pill to me. Oh, you've taken it before?
Are you sure, doctor, you haven't made a mistake?
You have nothing to worry about. The last patient I gave one of those to won the Kentucky Derby.
Honest to God, this whole thing is just so upside down. But really, it's the nurses and the doctors going on strike thing that gets me the most. To them, I just say, suck it up. Okay, this is real life. Either do your damn job or get out of there and let somebody else who wants to do your job take your place. This is totally unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable. So yes, I have COVID. It sucks. It feels like I'm swallowing glass half the time. I really don't know how long I'm going to be able to talk in this particular episode. But in any event, I'm going to be fine. I still have both of my kidneys and one of my lungs. I'm in relatively good health. So yeah, I'll get over it. So with that announcement out of the way, let's move on. I gotta say, it is awfully remarkable how we've only been off the air for, like two and a half months or so. We were prepping for season 2. And in that time, it is remarkable how now I find myself in a position to where I am so sick and damn tired of this new shitty. I'm like ready for it to go back to the old shitty. And when I say old shitty, I just mean like back to the way it was in June, right? 2.5 months, that's all it took for the world itself to just get flipped completely on its head. It's insane. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Afghanistan. I'll be honest, I don't remember 9/11. I was 5 years old when that happened, right? But I tell you what, I am going to remember this. I am going to remember the President of the United States on the eve of the 20th anniversary of a terrorist attack in which 3,000 Americans lost their lives. That our president thought it would be a good way to honor those losses by abandoning hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans in a godforsaken wasteland, to abandon thousands of green card holders, to abandon tens of thousands of Afghan allies and their families, people who we made frickin' promises to. Also, he could have some sort of cheap political win, because that's what it's really about for Biden at the end of the day, was a cheap political win. He wanted 9/11, the 20th anniversary 9/11 to get here, and for him to be able to say, I ended the war, I pulled all the troops out, right? But he did it in such a back-asswards way that he ruined everything. 20 years flushed down the toilet. He hit the freaking reset button. He pissed on the graves of every American man and woman and Afghan ally who gave their life over there, ensuring that we would never have a 9/11 again, that kept terrorism at bay and helped try and bring stability to a nation that hasn't known it in 2,000 years. Now all of that's gone. All of that's gone. Millions of women, as young as 12, being ripped out of their homes and forced into marriage, which is really just them being raped and then forced to live with their rapist. You know? And that really is just unbelievably disturbing. Yeah, I don't remember 9/11, but I am going to remember this. And I am going to remember the betrayal of our own freaking government to our own people, to our own allies. You know, and I hate that argument, the idea, oh, well, you know, you want to stay over in Afghanistan, right? Well, there are awful things happening all over the world, you know. Are we just supposed to respond to there? Why should we stay just for the women? Okay, it's not just about staying for the women or just for the humanitarian mission for starters. But fine, you want to go that way? Let's go that way. There is no doubt somebody starving on a street corner in California right now, right? Am I morally obligated to sell all my possessions here in Savannah and go out to California and try to find that person starving on a street corner and help them? No, that'd be ridiculous. That'd be insane. There's no feasible way to do that. That's unrealistic, right? But that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is somebody who is not in California starving to death, but is starving to death right in front of your face, in this room, starving to death right in front of me. And I know that if I just walk away, they are going to die. Right? And I choose to walk away anyways. That is what we are talking about. We're not talking about people suffering in Somalia. Are we just supposed to intervene? No. We are talking about people who are suffering or stood to suffer right in front of our faces. We were right there and we pulled away anyways. All right? It's like imagine you were a constable in Chicago and a roving gang came into your house and murdered your wife and kids, and you followed that gang back to their neighborhood. And you spent years pounding that gang into submission, forcing them into the shadows. And you stayed there and you kept the peace. And over that time, right, the neighborhood got a little nicer, got a little cleaner, got a little freer. The people started enjoying some freedoms, right? And that wasn't the reason that you were there in the first place. It was just sort of a nice little byproduct of your presence there. But the day comes when you realize that if you leave, everything that these people have gained will be ripped from them, that gang will come back out of the shadows and they will slaughter these people. And you know that there is nobody who's going to fill your place who is going to have any kind of good intentions. And you know that, and you walked away anyways. And that's what happened. Biden pulled us out of Afghanistan, and who are the constables that replaced us? Russia, China, Iran. You think they have any interest in helping the people in Afghanistan? You think they have any interest in attacking our enemies over there? No, they don't. Not even in the slightest. And that really, it's just a shit show on so many reasons, on so many levels, really. But I think the thing that really did it in for me was that press conference that Biden gave a couple of weeks ago, in response to the 13 service members being killed, and, you know, the whole pullout from Afghanistan where he's like, the buck stops with me, but it was Trump's fault. The buck stops with me, but it was the Afghanistan government's fault. You know that one? Well, we were able to obtain some exclusive footage from CNN, uncut footage, mind you, of that press conference, where you kind of find out just what was going through Biden's head during that press conference. This isn't footage you're going to see anywhere else, all right? So sit tight. The images are pretty shocking.
Mr. President, there had not been a U.S. service member killed in combat in Afghanistan since February of 2020. You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in.
Dead Marines? Come on, man, that's boring.
Dead. You said
Wonder what else is on TV. Man, Chicago's going to shit. Ah, what a dumbass. Now look at him fall.
If any form of pleasure is exhibited,
Oh, I love this movie.
report to me and it will be prohibited. I'll put my foot down, so shall it be. This is the land of the free. The last man nearly ruined this place. He didn't know what to do with it. If you think this country's bad off now, just wait till I get through with it.
You think the country's bad off now? Just wait till I get through with it.
The country's taxes must be fixed, and I know what to do with it. If you think you're paying too much now, just wait till I get through with it.
Yeah, that sounds like a good tax plan, actually. Oh shit, this guy's still talking. Crap. Crap, what did he say? Oh God, I don't know how to answer this. Get me out of here, Lord.
Our president, ladies and gentlemen. No. And you know, to top it all off, you know, the government that's being formed in Afghanistan right now, you might recognize some of the names of the people running things over there. If you wind the clocks back to the Obama administration, you know, when Obama in his infinite wisdom thought that it would be a good idea to just unilaterally empty out Guantanamo Bay and release terrorists back into the ether. It turns out that the Taliban 5, released under Obama, 4 out of those 5 are now working in the Afghanistan government right now, right? You have Nurali Norway is the acting Minister of Borders and Tribal Affairs. You have Abdul Haq Nassisi is the acting Director of Intelligence. You have Mohammed Fuckface is the Deputy Defense Minister, and Kurula Kakaka is the acting Minister of Information and Culture. Additionally, you know, one of the FBI's most wanted alleged terrorists, who was the head of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda aligned Haqqani network, a Mr. Sirajuddin Haqqani? Sirajuddin Haqqani was named Afghanistan's Interior Minister. You know, it's always good to see that while inflation and unemployment are running rampant in our country, that the Biden administration is really focused on ensuring that terrorists are fully employed in other parts of the world. Are you out of your freaking mind? Oh my God. This is just, it just baffles me. You know, it really baffles me. And what's worse is ignore the fact that the U.S. government left our citizens to die over there. Now they are actively preventing Americans from saving other Americans from over there, right? We have reports coming out from Glenn Beck, from Eric Montava, from Chris Mills. Now, these are all people who are operating private rescue efforts of American citizens, right? Glenn Beck is over there trying to evacuate Christians. Eric Montova, Chris Mills. Chris Mills is a former veteran. They're all trying to evacuate American citizens, along with other non-governmental organizations or NGOs. And all of them are reporting right now that the State Department, Biden's State Department, is preventing them from taking off from Afghanistan and landing in any other country. That the State Department is calling up these countries where they're trying to evacuate these people to safety, right? And saying, do not let them land there. Are you kidding me? No, of course you're not kidding me. Of course you're not kidding me, right? Because it would look really bad if a private citizen was able to do what the U.S. government cannot, right? It would look really bad. And that's all that matters to Biden at the end of the day. If anything matters to that dementia-ridden old fool, is optics. That's all it's about, is optics. Like I said, this whole pullout was just about having a cheap political win. But he bungled it up so badly, it blew up in everybody's face. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about the thousands of people who are left to die over there. He doesn't care about the millions of women who are going to be raped now. He doesn't care about the Christians fleeing into the damn mountains because they're being pulled
out of their houses by the Taliban and shot in the streets if they happen to have a Bible app on their phone. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if he has to prevent Americans from saving other Americans. All he cares about is looking good. He's looking good in front of that camera, right? About protecting his credibility and his name. He's just as bad as Obama. Obama's Secretary of Defense in 2015 said in an interview, I think it was on CNN, openly said that the intel community came to Obama in 2011 and said that ISIS is a growing threat. Do not pull out of Iraq. These guys are legit. And the Secretary of Defense said on national television that went against the narrative that they had won in Iraq, that our enemies were defeated. And it was an election year, so they needed to maintain that narrative that we had won. That's why Obama went out there and called ISIS the JV League. Didn't matter that in a couple years down the line, ISIS grew as the intel community predicted that it would, and 132 people ended up dead in France, and 13 people ended up shot in San Francisco. That didn't matter. All that mattered were the optics. And right now, it doesn't matter again. It doesn't matter again because it's all about the optics. It's absolutely despicable in every single sense of the word. And one of the things that gets me, we started a Twitter page for the show, and I made the mistake of what you typically do when you go on Twitter. You get in these stupid arguments with people that you disagree with. And, I was making the argument, like I made it here, that we should have stayed in Afghanistan. And I mentioned that, we'd only lost 100 troops between 2014 and 2021. Every single one of their losses is just immense. Even if it was one soldier, that is a tragedy. Absolutely. I'm not saying anything otherwise. But then I get arguments brought back to me about how, clearly none of those troops were related to you, right? Clearly, if you think we should stay in Afghanistan, that you're more than willing to go over there and fight yourself, right? Right? And that's the thing that gets me about these far leftists. The thing that really gets me is this misplaced sense of self-righteousness that tells them that it is a virtue to selectively choose whose deaths they want to recognize and whose deaths they don't, whose lives they want to value and whose lives they don't, right? That it is a virtue to deny evil where it exists, when it exists, right? And to tell me that if I wanted to stay in Afghanistan or if I disapprove of the way that Biden's, done this, that I don't care about those 100 troops, that I don't care about the loss of human life, about suffering, and unless I'm willing to go over there and fight myself personally, that I should just shut my mouth, right? Because I have no skin in the game. Let me tell you something. There are 100,000 Christians, right, killed every year. 100,000 Christians killed every year for their faith. They're put in cages, and they have those cages dropped in the ocean. They're burned alive. They have their heads chopped off and put on pikes. These are people who will never see their families again. These are people whose families will never see them again, never be able to bury them, never know what happened to them. All right, and right now there are thousands fleeing into the damn mountains that Glenn Beck, to his credit, is trying to save. But they're fleeing into the mountains. Why? Because the Taliban, like I said, going door to door, pulling them out of their houses and shooting them in the street like dogs. If they happen to have a crucifix on their neck or a Bible app on their phone, that is the result of us being pulled out of Afghanistan. That is part of the acceptable collateral damage that the Biden administration has implemented through its piss poor policies and piss poor pullout. All right? So don't tell me that I don't care about human suffering. Don't tell me that I don't care about those 100 troops or about the loss of human life. It's you who doesn't care. If you want to sit there and cherry pick whose lives you're going to care about today versus whose lives you're going to care about tomorrow, it's you who doesn't care. You are not a virtuous person if you do that. You are an intellectual coward and you are morally insane. Moral insanity. That is what we're up against at the end of the day. Moral insanity. People who are completely incapable of recognizing that evil is objectively bad and that good is objectively good, right? They can't piece that together. They think that evil is malleable, right? That as long as their intent is good, that what they're doing must be good. And that good intentions can only lead to heaven, and that they can't pave a path to the other place. And it sickens me. It really sickens me. Because those are the people running everything right now. And a lot of good people and a lot of people in between are suffering immensely, and they will suffer immensely for many, many years to come because of this. All because some bureaucratic, corrupt politician wanted a cheap win. He wanted some good optics. And that's why thousands of people had to die. That's why millions of people will suffer for years to come. Because Joe Biden wanted some good optics. And that's an absolute disgrace. It's a disgrace to the office of the presidency. It's a disgrace to our veterans. It's a disgrace to our allies. It's a disgrace to our children. It's an absolute disgrace. It was completely unneeded, and it was completely sickening. And that is what I'm going to remember. I don't remember 9/11. A lot of other people don't either. They aren't old enough. But I tell you what, there are going to be generations that remember this to come. For many, many years. For many, many generations, they're going to remember this. Anyways. Hello? I see. Okay, very good. Thank you for letting me know. Well, apparently we have some messages coming up from people who are absolutely not our sponsors. Here we go.
I heard you want to be a frito bandido like me. You too? Then you must sing the bandido song. Let's sing together. You just follow the bouncing Fritos corn chips bag. Ay, 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 ay. I am the frito bandido. Hey, I like Fritos corn chips. I love them, I do. I want Fritos corn chips. I'll get them from you. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, I am the frito bandito. Give me Fritos corn chips and I'll be your friend. The frito bandido, you must not offend. Now, boys and girls, you are frito bandidos too. You sing the frito bandido song and you loco for crunchy Fritos corn chips. That's nice.
Well, there is nothing that tastes better or ages better than racially insensitive commercials from yesteryear. No. My voice is just about ready to completely give out, so I'm going to have to wrap up here, unfortunately. I was hoping for the season premiere to be a little bit longer, but like I said, COVID kind of sucks. In any event, we do have some announcements for you before we let you go. So we're doing things a little bit differently this season. Last season we had one episode on Fridays a week. This season we're expanding. We're going to have regular weekly content rolling out. So definitely keep your eye out for that. If you aren't subscribed to us yet, definitely hit the subscription button. And, like I said, we got a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline going forward. If you are new to the channel, I highly recommend you check out some of our other stuff that we have on there, especially Righty Tighty Lefty is a personal favorite. It's where my friend Jake Tastic, the left-leaning Democrat, and I go on a road trip through various cities and states. We have a bunch of episodes of that up right now on the main channel. And we actually have a couple of new episodes that are going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. We also have some movie reviews that are by our PolitiFact employee insider, Patio Stool Sample, where he breaks down and reviews woke movies. The next one is going to be airing next week, actually, so keep your eye out for that, where he reviews Ghostbusters. No, the shitty one, yeah. And we're also going to be having a lot of other cool stuff in the pipeline for you going forward. So like I said, definitely hit that subscription button. Definitely hit that like button. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to seeing you back next time. But with that in mind, I'm Joshua Stanko, saying, stay safe, America. Stay informed. We'll catch you next time. Oh, hello again. If you like today's episode, please support us on Venmo or PayPal. The Woke is Broke podcast is a crowd-funded operation, and as such, we promise never to abscond with your money. Unless we're absolutely sure that we can get away with it. Also, buy my book! Available on the Amazon Marketplace. Have a good one.